Selamat malam, teman-teman. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the online screening of the documentary La Voix Humana in Spanish, La Voix Humaine in French, The Human Voice in English, Suara Manusia in Bahasa Indonesia. First, I want to convey my deepest gratitude to Abdrahmane Kamate, directeur délégué de l'Institut Français d'Indonésie, and his team for their valuable collaboration and enthusiasm to co-host this event. Originally, The Human Voice is a monodrama written by Jean Cocteau in 1928, in which a woman is on the phone with her lover of the last 5 years. Unfortunately, he will marry another woman the following day, and that causes her despair and depression. 84 years later, a theatrical play was shown in Mexico City, translating and adapting the masterpiece into the context of Mexico and women of the 21st century. A testament to the power of culture in bringing two nations together. Through the work of the talented Mexican director of the documentary, Iván Uriel Atanasio Medellín, we will dive deep into the making of the Mexican adaptation of this play, understanding the challenges faced by Karina Gidi, an Ariel Award winner, in interpreting and transmitting the many-sided, complicated emotions depicted by the main role of Cocteau's monolog. Also, we will learn how the successful Mexican theater director Antonio Castro gave a twist to Jean Cocteau's iconic play La Voix Humaine. In this occasion, Mexico and France invite the people of Indonesia to join us in this cultural exchange. Terima kasih dan selamat menikmati pertunjukan.
L'Institut Français d'Indonésie, Institut Prancis di Indonesia, sangat senang dan bangga mempresentasikan dokumenter The Human Voice atau Suara Manusia yang diselenggarakan oleh Kedutaan Besar Meksiko di Indonesia. Dokumenter ini adalah karya sineas Meksiko Iván Uriel Atanasio Medellín. The Human Voice atau dalam bahasa Prancis La Voix Humaine juga judul sebuah drama sandiwara karya Jean Cocteau tahun 1929. Drama sandiwara itu dipentaskan untuk pertama kali tahun 30 di Comédie-Française, teater terkemuka di Paris. Sebentar lagi Jean Cocteau dan karyanya akan dijelaskan dan dipresentasikan oleh Bapak Direktur Institut Français d'Indonésie, Bapak Stéphane Dover. Institut Français d'Indonésie mengucapkan terima kasih sebesar-besarnya atas ajakan dari Kedubes Meksiko di Indonesia. Penting sekali menjaga lintas budaya dan persahabatan antara bangsa-bangsa pada saat yang bahagia ataupun saat yang susah seperti sekarang. Kami berterima kasih sebesar-besarnya kepada Kedubes Meksiko atas inisiatif yang sangat bagus ini. Kami mengucapkan salam sukses untuk dokumenter La Voix Humaine, The Human Voice.
Hi everyone, how are you? I'm so happy to say hello from Mexico. I am Iván Uriel. I am a Mexican writer and documentary maker, and I am so happy to show you The Human Voice, this extraordinary monologue written by Jean Cocteau that we decided to do in a documentary some years ago in Mexico. And I'm so happy to show you. Really, for me, it's a great opportunity, such an opportunity to be together right now in the distance, and we are living in the middle of pandemic, but at the same time with all the wishes and the desires to be together through the art. And I want to say thank you, first of all, to the Mexican Embassy in Indonesia, to all the team, Lisette and everyone involved in this process, and of course say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the director of the French Institute of Culture in Indonesia, because for me it's a great opportunity to be together between institutes, between the embassies, and of course between the hearts of all the people involved in this documentary that was filmed some years ago, that I said before, and say thank you to all the people, and of course thank you to Karina Gidi, the actors that are gonna see in the documentary, and Antonio Castro, the director and the the great writer that made the adaptation from Mexican adaptation of the monolog in the theaters. And of course, say thank you to Andres Palma Burata that made the documentary with me, was my partner in this process, and all the producers, A.B. Rosenberg, Joseph Kensani, Maria Olmedo, Ingrid Sack in the art, Mario Hernandez in the, Miguel Hernandez too in the music, and of course say thank you to Perla Atanasio that was with us together in this encouraged moment of release the documentary. And I want to say thank especially to you to be together, to give us your time, and to be there waiting for the documentary that we are going to show you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. My name is Ivan Uriel, and I'm gonna tell you some stories and show some special moments that we released together in the documentary.
Hello everyone, my name is Andres Palma Burata, producer and editor of the Human Voice documentary directed by Ivan Uriel. First of all, I would like to thank the Mexican Embassy in Indonesia and the French Institute of Culture for the opportunity to continue showing this film and its journey through the world, reinterpreting the work of Jean Cocteau, updating it and reconstructing its imagination. Thanks also to Ivan Uriel for the invitation to participate in this wonderful documentary that allowed me to know not only Cocteau's work, but also the great talent that there is in Mexican theater and in the Mexican art in general. The Human Voice documentary, in my opinion, mixes two formats. On one hand, there is the documentary as a genre, which records the relationship that is created between the director Tony Castro and the great actress Karina Gidi, with the internal and external complexity that shape this creative relationship, and is a beautiful record of a process that built an artistic work from an interpretation of a text to a completely new piece of art. But the most interesting thing is that gradually the documentary turns into another format, which corresponds more to an experimental film, I think, where this remarkable love story is deconstructed through the various narrative levels of human beings. I think that Ivan Uriel, through his vision, managed to capture that reflected nature, those confines between reality and fiction, which confront us with our disagreement, define our idiosyncrasy, and install the limits of our utopias in a unique current context. The Human Voice documentary allows us to see clearly how the exaltation we are experiencing can have consequences not only in social change, but also at personal levels, making Cocteau's work even more current and reinventing his very clear perception of reality. So I invited all of you to enjoy this wonderful film with all your senses, and thank you very much.
Jean Cocteau is a very famous French novelist. No, I'm sorry. He's a very famous French poet, one of the most famous. Oh, maybe not. I should have said he is one of our leading painters. Jean Cocteau, yes, that's right. He's one of our leading painters. No. He's one of our leading filmmaker. Yeah, that's what he is. Or maybe not. He's one of the major theater authors from the 20th century. Yes, that's right. As I say so, I have the feeling that he is really a multi-talented artist. You can't put him in a box. Definitely not. He was larger than life. Larger than life means that he was very, very much a man of his time. It did all start in the 1920s. The Frivolous Prince was the name that was once given to him, the Frivolous Prince, because he was everywhere, a jet setter as well, somebody who was around, knowing, interacting with plenty of people and working with them as well. Working with them, I don't want to forget, but I will, because he used to work with Pablo Picasso, the famous painter, of course, Eric Satie, musician, André Breton, the author, Marcel Duchamp, the artist, plastician, Coco Chanel, who is known for fashion, Edith Piaf, the famous French singer, Henri Matisse, the painter. a special mention also to somebody who is more surprising and maybe less known by most, Jacques Maritain, who is a Christian philosopher. Christian philosophers that has inspired people like Barack Obama, for instance, and Saul Alinsky, who was the master thinker of Barack Obama. Surprising enough to see that a guy, an author as famous as Jean Cocteau, who was an opium man, who was in a revolt, who was an anti-militarist in a way, who was a gay, who was really an avant-garde, was also close to people like a Christian philosopher as Jacques Maritain. And a special mention also to Bernard Buffet, the great painter of the 20th century. And Bernard Buffet, just imagine that, Bernard Buffet has one of his masterpieces here in Indonesia. It's in Bali. And it's great to have it in Bali, Museum Pacifica. You should see this piece from Bernard Buffet. And Bernard Buffet has been the illustrator of The Human Voice. So The Human Voice as a book has been published with an illustration, a painting of Bernard Buffet. Deserves to be seen as a book, but deserves to have an original painting of Bernard Buffet here in Bali at the Museum Pacifica. There is something I want to tell you. I think that world lack of universal people, universal artists, as he was, as Jean Cocteau was. And I think that it's very important to see that you have some heirs of Jean Cocteau, people who are following the path. And people who are working in theater, films, who are writers as well. People like Ivan Hoyel, Anastasio Medellin, who is one of these very important people of our century. And because he is a multi-talented artist, he knows about the history of the art, he knows about the history of literature, he knows about the history of theater, and he tried to rejuvenate, in a way, those kind of things by having this very interesting documentary that we will be on the verge to watch together. So after this Act 1, I hope you will enjoy very much the film. This film presented, of course, by Mexican Embassy, the Embassy of Mexico in Indonesia, in relations and in close cooperation with the Indonesians. So thanks a lot. Enjoy the piece. Enjoy this theater play. You will see that's just great. Cocteau had a very tumultuous, sentimental life. He had plenty of affairs in his life, plenty of affairs, mainly with men, because he was a gay, but not only, with women as well. Among his prominent lovers, he had Jean Marais, who has been, let's say, a sex symbol of his time, who was for long his partner. And he had as well some affair with Freddy Gay, a very promising French author who died quite early, and with plenty of other people. But he had affairs as well with women, some complicated affairs with a Russian princess, for instance. So he knows what love and separation means in a way. Human Voice is a bit of a test of eternity. Why? Human Voice is, of course, one of his major play, even if it's a very simple one act, only one character on stage. You know because you know the piece already, and this is a bit crucial. At first, it's very promising in terms of feel-good atmosphere, because in fact, what you have. She loves him. She loves him, the character, and he calls her by phone. What you could imagine as a better day. In fact, it's much more complicated than that, I'm afraid. It's something terrible because it's not what we think. She received a phone call, and first of all, it was. Remember that the piece has been written in 1930, so long ago, telephone was at its beginning, and so it was very difficult to communicate. You had the kind of situation where you didn't know how to get your line. Somebody else could have been online as well. It was very, very difficult. And then you had this technical constraint. And what is amazing is that we are almost 100 years later, and this constraint seems to still be very, very puzzling sometimes. Everybody had this experience. You want to have a very intimate and very strong conversation with somebody, your lover. And all of a sudden, what happened? You have a technical issue. You have used WhatsApp, other means, and you have a technical issue. You don't hear well, or the other don't hear you well. Whenever you want to tell something very, very precious for you, very important for you, and you are in a rush to say, or in a rush to be heard, or in a rush to be understood, or in a rush to understand yourself, and you don't, you can't. And this is so frustrating, and it generates some distance where you want to have the people closer. So it makes you in a situation that has been experienced in this piece almost 100 years ago. So it's very modern in a way. The situation is very modern. The other point of eternity is love. She's in love. It's very obvious. She's so happy, full of joy of having him on phone. Ultimately, she has expected to happen for a couple of days already. You discover it step by step. But why? Because it will be the last time she has been on phone. They had a very, very, very strong affair. Something like, for her, it was crucial. She should shut up the telephone, but she knows that whenever she will hang over the telephone, hung up, she will be left into the darkness. She will be left into the limbo because she will be alone. And all of this piece is a story of love, separation, and traition. Because he had to be a traitor. A traitor because he had decided to leave her alone. Because he has chosen another lady. She has even chosen to get married with the other lady. And she just can't imagine how it could be possible to live without him. And for this reason, because he knew that, he had decided to hide some points. At first, he dissimulated that he has another affair, maybe a more serious or more definitive one. And he dissimulated. And did she blame it? Does she blame him for this situation to hide what should maybe have been more clear, to avoid this sort of treason, this sort of lie? And no, she doesn't blame him because she thinks that he has done it on purpose to protect her, just to protect her. And this treason, these lies, is a kind of protection as well. And everything is mixed around. You don't know who to blame. Is he to blame because he has chosen to split? Because he has chosen another option? Yes, he feels guilty, definitely. And then she feels very guilty as well. Not, of course, because of her behavior, but in a way, because she has a feeling that she didn't do whatever has been requested, what it took to keep him along her. And this is so cruel. And this piece is cruelty. And I think that it's so a sign of eternity that it's great to see a Mexican author, prominent one, multi-talent one, as I told in the Act 1, who has rejuvenated these things through his film. So it's really, I'm so ecstatic to see this film and to see that this adventure, this cultural adventure, happened in Mexico, so far away from the place where the originated place, theater pieces, happened at first in 1930.
First of all, I wanna follow you the process of the documentary. Everything starts like a story when Claudio Sodi, the producer, called me and say me, Ivan, we were talking before sometimes with the idea to release something together. And I was in the middle of the tour of my first novel, El Surco, The Furrow in English. And he called me and said me, you know, I want to do something special with this monologue. And one of the ideas that I got is try to release a behind-the-scenes documentary for a show what's happening with Karina, the actress, and the director at the same time in this process. So it could be great if we put the camera in different angles and release this documentary. So I am such a huge, I admire a lot the work of Jean Cocteau. And in my writing, I have a lot of inspiration coming from the French New Wave and the directors and writers. So I was getting involved with the French art. So release this project could be great to me. Could be a great opportunity to me because I was so excited to see the adaptation of the Mexican theater, but at the same time I want to see the process of Karina, because Karina is a very, very well-known actress in Mexico. She received a lot of awards, and Antonio Castro was very, very famous in Mexico in that time, and is right now one of the most renewed directors. So I was so excited to do it, and I said yes, and we start filming for a couple of days before, trying to catch the atmosphere of the placing where the essays they are gonna to start in the next days. So we got the project just as a view of the essays in the beginning, and after 2 or 3 days I talked with Andres Palma and said, you know, Andres, and Andres was in the same way that me, in the same channel. He said to me, yes, we got a documentary that could be more rich in the atmosphere and more rich in the history if we film all the process. So we got in this documentary the process from the first reading of the monologue until the timing where the monologue is released in front of the audience. So this is exciting, and this was a great period of time. We filmed for 2 months. Every moment in where the director and the actress were together working in the say with all the assistants around. You can see all the room that was made by different mirrors, and the process of the actors that was so exciting, how she was getting involved in this enormous, such a great experience of human voice, you know, all the feelings of the love. Because the human voice isn't a story of love, but at the same time it's a story in where the feelings are getting down, are broken. Because some relationships that are broken, but at the same time is the possibility to be reborn, to be going on with your own life. Because the life is love, but the life is suffering too, and the human voice is a call to get involved. All the life that is coming to you, and embrace the life as a big hug. And it's a scream that are coming from your soul, but at the same time it's a deep breath, to say the life is going on, the love is still there, but you got the possibility to going on with your life, to going on with your love, your love as a capacity or a capacity of an ability to getting in love into another relationship. And it's not just talking about the relationship as the love in the couples. It's about the love for the humanity, the love for your friends, your family. It's a reflection of the human voice. So for me, this experience was a very deep experience in my life, because in that time I was writing my second novel, El Itamo, that is about a trip to get into the end of this trip, the plan that cure everything. It's about a cure. And right now that we are suffering a lot, I make this reflection of the human voice, the cure, and how we can find this cure in the art. And as a kind of inspiration, as a waiting for the heart could be, beating so hard. And right now I am so happy to introduce you this documentary. This documentary was filmed in Mexico City in different stages. And we got this process for 2 months, as I said before, but at the same time was the moment in where you can see into the end of the documentary, this precise moment in where Karina is in the first day in front of the audience is for me magical, because we can be with her walking this path, walking this way, and finally discover that the art is all of those energies, all of those feelings that are together until the end, until the processing, where you can see this play and say, okay, this guy, Jean Cocteau, is not just a classic writer or a classic filmmaker. He's an extraordinary man that analyzes the human voice. But at the same time, you can see how Karina Gidi represents these women and this woman with an extraordinary empowering, and try to make this adaptation, because the play was written 80 years ago, and how Antonio Castro is a great play director. So I want to show you this documentary right now. Enjoy it a lot. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like it. And thanks again to the Mexican Embassy. Thanks again to the French Institute of Culture for all the support. Thanks again to all the people involved. As I said before, in the art, Ingrid Sack; in the music, Miguel Hernandez; in the production, Maria Inés Olmedo, Joseph Kemsani, A.B. Rosenberg, and of course Claudio Sodi. And I want to say thank you to Karina Gidi, Antonio Castro. Thank you all of you, for all your support, and especially Andrés Palma Burata, that was my partner in this process, and that he will be together in this transmission too. Thank you so much to all of you. From the bottom of my heart, I send you a big hug from Mexico. My name is Iván Uriel. Enjoy the human voice of Jean Cocteau. Thank you so much. Take care.
Everything comes to an end. This is the end of this evening session, and it's time to get to a conclusion. And the conclusion is always the step before a separation. And the separation is something very harsh, something rude, that one of the lovers often experience when there is a split. And it's what we can call spiritual and sentimental dependency. And there is a sentence in the text, there is a sentence in human voice that is so strong that I want to read it to you. I will start in French. It's her answer to one of his questions. The question was, what do you intend to do now? And the answer is, it's like if you ask a fish how he intends to organize his life without water. C'est comme si tu demandais à un poisson comment il comptait organiser sa vie sans eau. To organize the life without water for a fish is like dying. And it is the prospect or the feeling of somebody who is abandoned, that he has the feeling to have lost everything. So maybe this sentimental dependency is the most terrible thing on earth, but it means also that the person has lived something exceptional, that she had taken a bet as well. And there is another sentence that is so strong in the piece. I pay the high price of an immeasurable joy. J'ai payé cher une joie sans prix. Because there is nothing better than love, unconditional love, absolute love. You can't just consider that you don't have to live it, because you are at risk to lose somehow, somewhere, the track, the loving track. So this is a reason why we can probably tend to consider that we have to assume the prospect of a possible painful future to get what could be the best on earth. Love, unconditional love, absolute love.
Thank you very much for your participation in this event. Tonight, we'll learn about the work of Jean Cocteau, particularly his play La Voix Humaine, and a glimpse of the documentary that narrates the complexity that implies to characterize the main and only character of the play. Without a doubt, culture is a tremendous opportunity that make different countries come together. We hope you will enjoy the documentary that will be available from March 26th to April 2nd. Muchas gracias. Terima kasih. Merci beaucoup.